remember going from elementary school to middle school, and in middle school, your teachers. I don't know how you guys were set up in middle school and in high school, but in middle school, I had 7 teachers in a homeroom, and then in high school, it was the same thing. And each class was like 45 minutes. I know when my brother went to high school, they were doing things like making classes like an hour and a half, but they would only have 4 a day, and then the next day they would have another 4 different ones.
No,
we had
like A and B. Mm-hmm.
Like A, B day.
Yeah, we didn't. We had 7 teachers a day and then a homeroom, and we would switch classes all day.
I guess it would just depend on the school too.
So
because
I went from middle school to sitting in class and getting babied. I mean, from elementary school, sitting in class all day with the same teacher and getting babied and handed everything to me, and my assignments picked up from me. And then I would get sent home with a note, like what my homework was, and a reading log and stuff like that. And then I went to middle school and nobody gives a, all your teachers are like, just get it done and turn it in.
Right.
And it was shocking to me. I remember how shocking it was to me and how awful I did, like, the first semester of my 6th grade, because I couldn't keep it together. Right. I think we get babied a lot in elementary school.
Right, I think so too.
And
I think it's such a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like how you guys said, I guess that's why we have our teachers from elementary, because we get babied.
Yeah. I feel like they give you that baby talk too and everything.
My first grade teacher, I remember her because I'm dyslexic. So if she hadn't figured it out, up until this day I would be struggling and I wouldn't have gotten the help that I needed. But she saw that I was struggling a lot. She was the one that set up all these meetings and these things with the district, and I was tested and everything, and then I got the help that I needed. And throughout my entire school life, I had to take extra classes and more tutoring and stuff like that. But if she wouldn't have helped me, if she wouldn't have detected it, and she wouldn't have gotten me the help, I would have struggled every single year, probably until now, because now as an adult, I really doubt I would have gone to get diagnosed for dyslexia.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I would have just continued to struggle.
Yeah.
And that's why I remember her.
Yeah. I feel like with me, the teachers that stand out to me are the ones that actually care. I feel like since teachers deal with so many students every year, multiple classes, to some you're just a number. So when you see the ones that actually take time to get to know who you are, who will ask you questions, and know when you're having a bad day, or know when you turned in something that's out of the ordinary, the ones that actually put in that extra effort, those are the ones that stick with me.
Yep.
The ones that really didn't care, I don't really remember those, but the ones that were really cool with me and stuff like that, those, I can remember a few of them. But, yeah, it's always the ones that I felt like I connected with and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned the one with the puppet, right?
Yeah, I don't want to tell that story again.
No, you Okay.
I remember the teacher that I didn't like the most, and it also has to do with my first grade teacher. She kind of kept track of me through elementary school. When I was in 5th grade, my teacher was having an affair with another one of the teachers down the hall, in the 5th grade hall. So she would give us notes folded and then go take this to Mr. Olivas.
Oh
so
my God.
I remember the day that it was my turn. She's like, don't read it. So I read it, right? And then when I got back, she's like, did you read it? And I was like, yeah. So from then on, she just went at me all the time. She would give me such a hard time. And I wasn't passing, but my first grade teacher, like I said, would keep track of me. And she noticed, like, she's had good grades with all the, the help that she's been given up until this, like, what's going on. She looked into it. There was, like, a big thing, and then I was moved to another class. And she and she got in trouble because then the other kids were like, yeah, she did stuff like that with me too. God. And it was like, adult knows. But yeah, now it's funny, but back then I was scared because maybe I should have lied and said, no, I didn't read it. And then, I would have just gone on with my day, but no, I was like, yeah, I read it. You can't tell me not to read something and then expect me not to read it. I was like, what, like 10 in 5th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Like when you get told something to not do something, just makes you want to do it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that age especially, you're like, what do you mean I can't read this? Let me read this.
Yeah.
Well, did you know? Yeah.
Okay, so question 4. It sounds funny because I'm like repeating these again.
I apologize.
Okay, so is there a certain memory you like to repeat? Because like I guess said in the other video or whenever we talked about this, it's like I'm always with somebody that tries to tell me stories all the time, and I'm like, you already told me that. So
Yep.
a lot of the times they're repeated, but we always have those favorite memories to tell, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
I think I had-
yeah, like I like
It's
talking.
comforting.
Yeah. I like talking, so I guess you could say I do repeat a lot of things. But I get
Yeah, I think I
told,
said,
like, yeah, I get told, like, yeah, you already told me. I'm like, alright, I guess. Like, I guess I can see where you guys are annoyed.
Let me tell you again.
Yeah. So, pay attention this time.
When I was young, I was like 20. I had moved to Colorado, and I had my first apartment and everything. And the apartment where I lived, it was a complex of 4 apartments, and they were really young too. So we would usually on Fridays there were 2 floors for apartments, and we would at the bottom, like right at the porch of the apartments, the 4 of us would come down and we would have some beers and just hang out because we were all young. And there was this young guy that also young who lived across across the street from us, and he would come over and he would drink with us. But once he started getting drunk, he would always come up with it. When I was little, the same memories, literally every single Friday, we would hear the same stories over and over again to the point that we just stopped hanging out in the front. So he wouldn't come over. We would just go to the back, over to the balcony, because we heard the same story 16 times over and over again.
Right.
I lived there for 2 years, and I heard those stories every single time until we started ditching him and just hanging out in the back.
Yeah.
And I think those were his favorite memories, is positive.
Yeah.
Because they weren't sad memories. They were just so repetitive that we got sick of it. But they were happy memories. He wasn't the kind of come with all the sad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they were good memories.
Yeah, like I think I said like in the last video is that how like when you get together with like your family, like after being away from each other for so long, and you get together and you guys like reminisce about old memories, like even though it's like always repeated in every like get together,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it's still nice to like
Mhm.
go back in time and like talk about that stuff.
That happens a lot with me, with my friend that I met my freshman year of college. So, like, we still talk to this day, and we're always saying, like, remember this happened, but, like, we always talk about it. So we just, like, remind each other every time we talk about the same memories we have. So,
Yeah.
but never get old.
It is nice when you get with your family. When I get with my cousins and we start remembering about when we were little and all the fun stuff. But my family tends to, especially the older ones, like that, my aunts and my uncles, they get together and they start bringing up the negative stuff, and then they end up all arguing and fighting. And
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, why do you guys do that? It's so, the cousins are over here talking about all the happy stuff when we were little, and then the adults who should know better, are over here fighting about something that happened 50 years ago. And yeah, they end up fighting, and then everybody goes home upset.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens to you guys in your families, but mine does that.
Yeah, it starts off positive, and then it's like, okay, we start talking about this, and then wait a minute, I remember around that time too
Yeah.
that something bad happened. What?
And it was you.
And it was you.
And then there's always that one person, like, that finds out that day, like, it was you this whole time.
Yeah.
So,
I think the story I had came up with too was when I was in the army, being in the field, and
Oh, yeah.
how we would always just because sometimes they would take our phones away and stuff like that. So we had to